What's up, YouTube? This week, there wasn't a whole lot going on in the news. However, there was a few things mentioned. They mentioned that they're going to go ahead and do another Captain Marvel movie, which obviously is going to bomb. The only reason why people watch the first one is to get a clue of what was going on with the Avengers Endgame. The only reason why it did anything at the box office because Disney went and purchased a bunch of the tickets, kind of cheating the ticket sales and the box office numbers. So I look forward to that bombing. I guess they're going to try to redo the whole X-Men franchise since this last one bombed so bad. This Dark Phoenix. And I could have told anyone it was going to bomb. I mean, if they quit putting SJW or feminist or PC crap in their movies, you know, things would go well for them, but they keep putting that in, it just gets worse and worse, and their movies are going to keep bombing, you know. I'm not sure how this new Spider-Man is going to be. Tom Holland's not bad as Spider-Man, but if they keep putting all the PC crap in it, it's just going to suck. You know, no one wants this new I'm not sure if she's black or Mexican or whatever. No one wants the new MJ character because that's not MJ. Plain and simple. MJ is his love interest and she's a redhead. It's always been that way. Same thing with the whole Flash thing, you know. They got some retarded ass like Arabian kid being, or Muslim kid or whatever, being the new Flash, and that's not that's not the character of Flash. So, you know, if they keep screwing, you know, Aunt May is not some 30-year-old woman either. She's an old ass woman in her 80s. So I don't know. They keep screwing around, changing crap and trying to make it PC. It's just fall in their face. They need to learn better. I mean, hopefully they learned their lesson when they did the last Fantastic Four. I heard they were going to try to redo the Fantastic Four movie. The last one was terrible. They changed a bunch of stuff that the fans were not excited about, and it fell flat on their face. I honestly don't know what's wrong with the first two Fantastic Four movies. They were awesome, you know. I love the Silver Surfer one, so I don't understand why they didn't continue from there. It made no sense. Anyway, hopefully they do right by these. Start doing right by these characters, and start putting the original content out there instead of making up their own shit, because it falls flat every time. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I did watch one particular new movie called, I think it was called Rim of the World. It was a kids movie on Netflix or whatever. Netflix did it. It reminded me sort of like the Goonies kind of thing. I had that kind of nostalgia or feel to it. It wasn't bad for a kid's flick. Yeah, it was an alien invasion movie, which that plot has gotten really old. There have been so many alien invasion movies, but the way it was done, it wasn't done too bad. It was all right for a kids flick. If you don't mind that kind of sci-fi, I suggest you go ahead and check it out. It was all right. It wasn't bad. I also watched um, a horror flick called Polaroid. Uh, it was okay, I guess. It wasn't the greatest. It really got on my nerves that it was kind of so similar to like Final Destination, just done with the camera, or what's the one with the videos in it? Not The Grudge, but I can't even think of it. It's the one where they're doing the videos and you watch the video, you'll die or whatever, blah, blah, blah. It had that similar plot in it. It was The Ring. That's what The Ring movies. It was like that. You know, take a picture, you show up in the Polaroid, uh, there's a shadow behind you in the Polaroid, and that means that the ghost is going to kill you next. So it's kind of cheesy, because it was the same story, but the acting was decent. So other than that, it was okay. But I don't know, it wasn't a unique story at all. Uh, so that's enough of that. Let's get on to your B movie or cult classic reviews for all you movie holics just like me. Movie holics. This week we went horror flick week, so I found some good horror flicks. Something I've never actually watched. I've heard about it. It's become a cult classic over the years. I mean, it didn't do real well when it first came out, but now it's a cult hit. I went ahead and watched all three of the Maniac Cop series. The first one was done in 1988. Like I said, it didn't do real well, especially at the box office. I don't even think it cleared $1 million. But it has some decent actors in it. It starred Tom Atkins as the detective, and then it had Bruce Campbell, he's kind of framed for some murders. He's in the middle of everything, and then Lauren Landon is like his girlfriend. Well, not really. She's more like his mistress. Bruce kind of cheats on his wife with Lauren, and excuse me. His wife gets killed over it. And then, of course, Robert Zadar, rest in peace. He played the Maniac Cop, or better known as Matt Cordell is the name of the Maniac Cop. Now, before I even get started with the first one, there is a scene that you will see throughout all three movies that basically does like a flashback and tells you kind of a sort of backstory and what happened to Matt Cordell. In it, he ends up having to see a judge, and he sentences him to like life in prison or whatever. And it shows him walking down in one of the cell blocks, and all the prison or inmates are standing outside and cussing at him, looking at him, pointing at him, and a couple even throw things at him. Then he goes to where he's taking a shower by himself one night, and some of the inmates come in there, and there's a big fight scene, and they end up stabbing him in the back. I can't think. For some reason, I went blank. Forget what that's called. A shiv. They shiv him in the back, and then they cut up his face real bad. You later find out he's not really dead. In this first film, he was just barely alive, and the doctor saves him because this woman comes and asks him to save him. She's also a police officer, and she kind of takes custody of him, gets him out of the prison. He's supposed to be brain dead, but apparently he's not really quite brain dead. But in the movie, you know, everybody thinks he's dead. The mayor is actually, the mayor and several police commissioner and several other high-ranking officials, they actually set him up to fall and get killed in the prison because he was getting too close on a case that involved all of them committing crimes, criminal activities with the mob. So they set it up to where he'd go to prison and get killed. And he finds out he wants to come back for revenge. But instead, he kind of goes on a killing spree and starts killing a bunch of innocent people. He's kind of lost it, you know, after what happened to him. So, like I said, he frames Bruce by killing his wife and making it look like he did it. So Bruce gets caught in the middle of it. Lauren and Tom Atkins, they figure out that Matt Cordell's still alive and that he's going around killing people. And there's this big terror on the street, on the news, that there's a maniac cop loose killing people. At first they think Bruce Campbell did it, but then they find out it's Matt Cordell. And towards the end, you know, he pretty much gets most of his revenge. He kills the commissioner, and he kills, at the very end, he kills the mayor, you know. You don't really see him die at the end. He kind of underwater. He's a little bit underwater, and his hand pops up because they go into the water in a bay or whatever towards the end. So naturally, they have to come out with the sequel to that. So, in 1990, they decided to do Maniac Cop 2. Now, the lead actor in this one is Robert Devine, and the lead female is Claudia Christian. Apparently, Claudia Christian was a real pain in the ass to work for. She was a real bitch. I would have never pegged her to be like that, but apparently she was. She couldn't get along with anybody. She acted like a spoiled little rich brat girl, you know, whatever. But anyway, she caused a lot of problems for the production, but eventually they got it done. Cost them a lot of money too. I couldn't find anything on box office how well it did. I'm not sure. I think it went straight to video. In this one, apparently, you know, Matt Cordell, he comes back apparently from the dead. They're apparently thinking he's at this point in the sequel. They kind of make it seem like he's dead. He just can't come back alive. He's like some kind of zombie or some crap. Um, anyway, so Robert becomes the lead detective on a series of murders. Actually, there's 2 murder cases. One's a serial killer that's going around killing strippers, and the second one, of course, is he starts hearing rumors about a cop killing people. So naturally, what does the cop do? The cop, Matt Cordell, he wants revenge on the prisoners that killed him. But he figures if he's going to be a serial killer, why not buddy up with another serial killer? So he finds the guy who's killing the strippers, and he becomes kind of buddy-buddy with him. There's this one major scene that made this movie kind of stand out from a lot of other movies. He kind of does this Terminator thing where he goes to his buddy, gets thrown in prison, the stripper serial killer, and Matt Cordell shows up, and he's killing cops left and right in this scene. And you know, he goes in there to I don't know, have this big shootout with all the cops, and he's tossing around left and right and shooting them left and right, and kills a whole mess of them to break this guy out. And he breaks out several of them. They all go with him, and they go to the prison. They have this big scene where he eventually catches on fire, and you know, they draw it out for quite a bit. Him walking around set on fire. Eventually, Robert Devine, he brings the police commissioner up there, and they claim that they're going to turn themselves in and yada yada for the crimes they committed against them. And so he turns on the inmates. He finds a couple of the inmates that stabbed him or shivved him, kills them, and then he turns around, he turns on his buddy and burns him up too, and out the window they go. Well, it wasn't out it was sort of the window. It's more through the wall. And they go falling into this bush, and it explodes or whatever, and that's the end of that. Then at the end of the movie, you see them have a funeral. They bury Matt Cordell, and that's supposedly the end of it. But apparently it's not, because they went and decided to make Maniac Cop 3. This is called The Badge of Silence. It was done in 1993. Again, it stars Robert Devine. He comes back as Detective McKinney in this one as well. Obviously, Claudia Christian's not in this one after all the problems they had with her. They actually bring in a different leading lady. Caitlin Delaney is in this one. She plays a doctor who helps Robert out. Anyways, in this one, Robert Devine, like I said, he comes back as Detective McKinney, and you would also expect Bruce Campbell and Laurie Landon to show back up, but they basically killed them off in the second early on. They just felt that their story arc was done in the first one pretty much. So Robert Devine, he basically starts getting rumors that there's a cop killing people again. Um, he has this friend who's a female cop. And he kind of considers her like a kid sister or whatever. But she gets shot up by a druggie who she ends up shooting up as well. And they both end up in the hospital. She ends up in a coma while the other guy, he's like, starts pressing charges against them and all kinds of ridiculous crap. This black voodoo priest or whatever, he kind of resurrects Matt Cordell, and then basically, you know, if you do what I say, I'll give you this female cop for your to you or whatever to do with as you want. So Matt Cordell goes to the hospital, and there's this weird dreamlike scene where he's marrying this female cop, and she don't want nothing to do with him. It's really bizarre. But Matt Cordell, of course, goes another killing spree, and Robert Device trying to figure out what's going on, and you know he gets a sense that it's Matt Cordell, but he don't want to believe it. The female doctor, Caitlin Delaney, she's kind of half-assed taking care of the female cop and the prisoner or whatever, the inmate that shot her up. Matt Cordell, for some reason, he goes to the hospital, and you know, there's this scene where he's killing people left or right in the hospital, and then the inmates, there's more than one, there's other inmates in there, or prisoners, that are patients in this hospital, and they get loose, and there's this big shootout scene where they're trying to escape, and Robert Device in there shooting him, and Matt Cordell's in there causing trouble and mayhem. Anyway, he takes off with the female cop who's in a coma, and Robert Device and the doctor kind of chases him down to the voodoo place, which is like a secret tunnel in their hospital, leads to this weird ass church, abandoned church, where the voodoo priest is at, and he promises Cordell that he'll give him to her, and her soul, he tries to get her soul, and her soul don't want to come forward, so Matt Cordell gets pissed, and he kills the priest, and then he goes after Devi and Robert and Caitlin. He chases them down, and then they get in this big car chase, and it's a long chase scene, and the doctor's screaming hysterically, like it sounds ridiculous. The woman who plays her, she kind of does some overacting, over the top acting with the screaming and crap. But eventually, they get, I don't know, it's like oxygen tank into his car. He's on flames, and then he blows up. I don't know what is it with the flames or whatever. It was like that in the second one. They got to have a big long sequence where the cop's on flames. Maniac Cop's on flames. It's the same way in this one during the chase scene. Anyway, they blow him up, and that's supposedly the end of the movie. You know, everybody lives happily ever after. In my honest opinion, the first one was actually halfway decent. It wasn't bad, and it had a lot of actors in it. You know, I just you might not know some of their names, but you recognize them when you see them. Had quite a few actors in it. surprisingly, for such a low budget movie. And Robert Zadar, as Maniac Cop, he does an awesome job. I always liked him as an actor. He as a B actor, he didn't do any really A-top movies. I think he did Tango and Cash as one of the bad guys in it, but for the most part, he's always been a low budget actor. But he was a great actor. And Tom Atkins, when I first saw that he was the lead in it, I was, oh, that's not bad. He's a pretty decent actor. So it was a decent flick. It wasn't so much a horror flick either. It was more of a thriller to me. It wasn't really horror. It didn't start the horror crap until the second one, which, when they decided to bring Robert Devine in, I was like, hey, he's a cool actor. I like him. Right on. I'll check that out. No problem. It's kind of surprising that the way Claudia Christian, the way they talked about her, how bad and awful she is to work with. I was kind of surprised she acted that way, but apparently she's really a pain in the ass to work with. She thinks she's all that in a bag of chips. But the second one I thought was awesome. It was really good compared to the first one. They outdid themselves in the second one. A lot of action, good story. Him coming back from the dead is kind of cheesy, but you really don't see him die in the first one. But they kind of make it off like he's been he's like dead or something, and he's come back from the grave. Whatever, it was still a good movie. It wasn't bad at all. Decent acting in it too. So now the third one, they kind of lose it for me. I didn't really care all that much for the third one. It was okay, but it wasn't nearly as good as the second one. The female lead, Caitlin Delaney, she did a lot of overacting in it, which kind of made it kind of bad. It wasn't really all that great because of her. Otherwise, the movie probably would have been a little bit better. I think the whole bringing him back and having him try to marry the comatose female cop was a little bit strange. There was some of the movie I just didn't understand or get. It made no sense. But otherwise, it was okay. But there were times I almost nodded off during it because it wasn't really all that great. And I like Robert Devine as an actor. It had nothing to do with him at all. It was just the story was kind of lame. But all in all, Maniac Cop is a good series. I also heard, just a heads up, they're doing a reboot of this franchise. They're going to go ahead and make a new Maniac Cop. I don't know who they're going to star as Maniac Cop because they got some big shoes to fill. Robert Zadar was awesome as Maniac Cop, so I don't know who they're going to have play the part. We'll see. I'll definitely have to check it out. Anyways, I was going to do a kind of like a reaction video to the whole try not to laugh challenge kind of thing, and I think I'm going to do it next video, so look forward to seeing that. Anyways, if you have any suggestions, a type of classic or B-rated movie, Jim, that I might not have even heard of or seen, leave it in the comments down below, and I'll try to review it as soon as I can. Anyways, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you've just been told.